completely off topic question. Has Breaking Bad done good or bad for chemistry? Has it helped it or has it made it more annoying?
I don't know.
I mean, I feel like we're witnessing the origin story of like future Walter White.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, is it like a meme amongst chemists where you talk about Breaking Bad, or is it just like a?
It's kind of a thing where you roll your eyes.
Yeah.
Right,
So it's kind of, it's like, I think Breaking Bad was, I don't remember the show enough. I think it was accurate enough in a certain way. But it's like, if you do chemistry, there's a lot of stuff that, I like the show. Like, I thought the show was good, and you accept everything that comes with TV.
Yeah.
But it's like when other people kind of like, I don't know.
So
I don't,
realistic, right?
No, I don't know how to describe kind of like the feeling.
Right.
But I guess maybe one thing would be, because like the meth they made was blue.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, yo, dude, like, could you make super pure meth? And I was like, I mean, in theory, like any competent chemist,
Could make
it's basic techniques. Like what they did in the show were like very basic techniques.
You're like amateurs. Amateurs.
Well, no, like straight up, if you want to know, it's like the most basic technique is recrystallization.
Yeah,
which is like, if you know the solvent, you literally just dissolve it, you heat it up, dissolve it, and then let it cool down and the crystals come out. And like for meth, not to get
So
into meth.
are you calling Walter White? Is Walter White? Does Walter White look like an amateur in the show then?
No, I mean, they hyped it up to make him look like, you know, really pro.
super genius.
But like purifying a lot of these chemicals is like very
basic chemistry.
Even like when you mentioned before, you're like, oh, you say purification like it's normal.
Yeah.
In my lab, we didn't trust even the chemicals that were certified by the company.
Right.
Because everything we did was like very like, not like, it was very like sensitive to water and air and stuff. So we repurified everything. And it's not uncommon for labs to just purify everything they get.
Just to make sure you
Just
have
to
the
make
purest
sure.
form. Right.
So it's like all these techniques are like very basic. So it's like when people ask me that, I'd be like, I mean, anyone who's done organic chem, like I would maybe probably grad, even above grad, like just undergrad.
Yeah.
Right.
They could figure it out. Like it's not really that complicated. But I was gonna say is like they go, could you make the meth blue? And I was like, what? So what you want me to do is contaminate it, like because meth is white, like it's clear, like it's gonna be like most pure organic compounds are just colorless.
Right.
Yeah.
So to make it blue, you have to put food coloring in it,
Right.
or something. So you're like, can you make it pure? Like make it blue? And I'm like, that's an impurity.
Yeah.
So like it's stuff like it's not annoying, but like it's like this weird hype about
Blue meth.
Is the okay? Another
like,
question.
I don't know how to.
hit product. Blue
It's like this. I don't know how to like. I don't know what the proper term is for like people's view of chemistry.
Like it's skewed
is like
or? Yeah.
I really don't know how to describe like the feeling.
Yeah,
or like the
I feel
idea.
like they might have just like simplified it or just
Dumbed it down, maybe?
I would say that it's kind of like, this is maybe a bad example, but like when people think of like a surgeon or a doctor, it's like if you don't know anyone in the medical field, they're just kind of like these gods who just have infinity knowledge.
Right.
And people kind of view that about chemistry. And
most definitely.
it's weird to me about like certain techniques where, like I said, I'm like, you take a cup of like, you just pour acetone.
Yeah.
You heat it up on a plate that gets hot. You add stuff until it stops dissolving. And then you just wait for it to cool down. And then it comes back out and you're like, well, it's more pure now. Like, it's not really, it's not like this crazy like space age thing, but like they would say it to me as though like you could do like this purification. And I'm like, it's not very, I'm not annoyed by it, but it's just like, it's this like.
You're talking you're talking shit. You're saying things that are just wrong.
I don't really know how to describe it. It's like, it's not a bad thing necessarily.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like on one hand, it's like they're really interested in chemistry, but they're into it in a way that doesn't really represent chemistry.
I have a question that
makes sense. Like, it's not a bad thing.
I want to know, but I didn't want to Google it because I feel like
just Google how to make meth all that. Like, I don't care.
I was like, I didn't want to see my history. You know,
typed how to make a bomb.
This is like okay, what the fuck? You know, Breaking Bad, right? This is a scene, and it's stuck with me because I'm like, is that true? It's like
You've been waiting for this moment.
Yeah. I'm like, I need you to know, and I'm sure the people who have watched this
VPN.
Yeah, because our sponsor, if we actually have a VPN sponsor, this would be great. So there's a scene in Breaking Bad, and I've always wondered, is this just bullshit? You know when they want to dissolve the body, and they have to get a specific type of acid.
That's hydrofluoric, yeah.
Right, and they have to get a specific plastic. Is that true?
So It's that's one thing. I think I watched a MythBusters thing where they tried to dissolve a body.
They dissolved a pig, I believe.
and it did work.
Yeah, but just not like it did in Breaking
in the movie.
Bad. Yeah,
and it
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
go through the bathtub.
Exactly.
So you could do it in the bathtub normally?
So here's the thing, like
good balance.
hydrofluoric is one of the,
I'm kidding.
I mentioned the acid before.
Right.
Because I said it was one of the chemicals I worked with recently that's scary.
Yeah.
You don't work with it commonly. Like fluorine and hydrofluoric acid are just not common.
Could you get enough theoretically to fill a bathtub as well? Like,
It's hard. Like even you could. Like a lot of these acids are industrial acids.
right? Because like in fucking Breaking Bad, he just gets it. You're like, oh, well, I knows how to get a vat of acid.
It's definitely like it's one of those things. Like even like cyanide.
Yeah.
As an average person, you're like, I can't, like, where do you even get cyanide? If you go to like some places that do like, for example, like gold plating, cyanide is used in like gold refining and stuff.
Is it really?
They will just have drums of cyanide. Just like
That's insane.
Like dozens of like thousands of pounds of cyanide
Yeah.
on pallets and stuff because it's industry. They have
And it's
all these
totally,
chemicals.
and obviously you need it. So obviously when you're buying it, it's not sketch at all.
Yeah, that's why even in Breaking Bad, it's kind of realistic where he's like, I know where to get methylamine, and he like steals it from a company.
Yeah.
Because it's like they do use it for legitimate stuff. And it's like they will have tanks of hydrofluoric acid
Yeah. Yeah.
that you could steal. But it's like ordering, if I were to be like, I need 1,000 or 100 liters of hydrofluoric acid, I think you can go online, the companies, the most they cap out is like 4 or 8.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's really, I bought a 500 ml bottle because it's lab, they all give you like the high purity lab grade stuff.
right.
You want the industrial crap, especially if you're going to dissolve a body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you get the lab grade stuff, it's like $1 a milliliter. Like it's really expensive.
I was gonna say, like, is there like the perfect crime in your head of how you would do it? Because you obviously know all these techniques, right? So like, have you planned like? You're like, I'm not obviously you're not gonna kill someone, but you're like,
Are you gonna try to
if I
like
did,
incriminate Nigel on camera?
I'm just saying, like,
I don't know if did I fully answer your question that you had?
I think maybe so there's like, is it true that there's like plastics that go with certain acids?
So I should say that's what I should say, just as that the whatever the last thing. Hydrofluoric dissolves glass.
Whoa.
So that's like what I in a video, that's why I want to do it, like show.
Yeah.
It's used for glass etching in industry. So it's like very common, which is why I'm saying it's like an industrial acid.
Right.
So people do it if like sometimes, I don't remember exactly, but like if you need to etch glass to like bond things to it or to do like surface treatments, they will do a hydrofluoric acid rinse first. So it's really not uncommon, but it's sold in plastic bottles. So it's like when it's a pain because when you do any chemistry with it, you can't use glassware. You have to use
most of it's glassware. Right?
You have to use all plastic. And it's like, how do you distill it? You actually have to use, I think, stainless steel. Like you can't.
Oh, so you have to boil it, right?
Yeah, but
You can't boil it in plastic.
no, it won't boil. And maybe some high temperature, but I wouldn't do it in plastic.
Yeah, the plastic would just melt.
Hydrofluoric acid,
Yeah.
though, I think reacts with steel and iron to make like iron fluoride, but it blocks I think it blocks the rest of the metal from reacting. It forms like a passivation there. I could be wrong, but it's like that's
It's
why
out of my depth.
if it's in the bathtub, even if it like etches away some of the surface, I think if it's like a steel bathtub or certain metals, like it will get stuck.
Okay. So, all right.
I think I could be wrong.
So okay.
I could
We
be wrong.
wouldn't know.
Okay.
I could be very
We
wrong.
would not know.
I call you up. I'm like, Nigel, I have a body. Don't ask why. How do I get rid of it?
Okay, what I would do is I would hang up, call the police. Oh no, I would stay on the line, not to be. I'd stay on the line, and then I would call.
Okay, you're like, okay.
Telephone.
He's going here. He's going here. Go.
Put you on mute. Be like, so you're asking how do you dispose of a body?
What's okay in the movies? Right?
Hypothetically.
In the movies, because I assume in the movies it's all bullshit, right?
Yeah.
So my perception, I've talked about this before. I think that like just recently, I think we were in Japan talking about it.
Right.
I think anything like your problem is you have a body, right?
That is the problem. That's the problem.
that we're trying to solve.
The solution is to not have a body.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I think the more steps you do in between is just you're leaving more evidence.
Because I was going to say, like, if you buy the acid,
Yes.
you buy acid, right? If you do
Yes.
this thing, you do this thing. So it's
everything
this
you
whole
do-
movie shit is just bullshit, right?
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you go, okay, the best way to dispose of a body, like, I'm going to chop it up.
Yeah.
Then you just get blood everywhere. It's like, I just think that, like, I'm just saying that, like, I feel like you just are leaving a trail of evidence
Right,
behind.
right.
Yeah.
Whereas I watched, like,
What's like the dumbest thing you've seen in like a
I
movie?
used to edit.
Okay.
I still edit, but I used to edit like and just watch a show A&E. I think it was ABC 2020.
Yeah.
Which is just like murder cases, and it was kind of interesting because they showed you like they followed like from beginning to end like the court case and everything. And what I kind of figured out from watching it was the guys who got away with the murder put the least effort in getting away with the murder.
Oh, just chuck it in the river or something.
Well, the guys who were like trying to like stage like a story and they bought fake plane tickets and like did like all this stuff, they just got caught.
Yeah.
Because it was so incriminating. Whereas like the people who didn't get caught, didn't have necessarily like a direct tie to the person.
I was going to say, like, I feel like the moment you have a tie to someone, it's already problematic.
Yeah.
But like some of the ones that the people did, they just took the body, drove to the middle of nowhere, and just buried the body. And like that, it was just like,
So I'm like, all right, I got it. I'm going to
But I'm
Phoenix.
saying like it wasn't like this crazy movie scheme.
Yeah.
There was even one that was kind of crazy. The guy just took the body. He lived near the desert. Just drove in nowhere, Nevada, and buried the body.
Yeah, right.
And they knew that I think he had killed a couple people, and they literally spent like with hundreds of people searching for like I think weeks. Never found the body.
Well, 'cause it's fucking Nevada.
Yeah.
And what happened though was they cut a deal with him because I forget exactly why.
This is real, right?
Yeah. They cut a deal with him because the families wanted to know where the bodies were. And they knew he killed one person, but they could not get him on the murder of the other two. And they cut a deal with him because there's no body. They're like, as far as we know, there's no crime. And the deal they cut with him was, if you tell us where the bodies are to give the family like closure, we will not try you for those murders. And the family agreed to it.
Holy
So
shit.
he literally
Got away
then
with
told
murder.
them where the body was and they found it, but it was impossible to find. And I was like, the guy didn't have this crazy scheme. He
That's
just
the most insane like trade offer I've ever heard. Like,
no. They said that the investigator was like, it was one of the worst like offers he ever had to make.
right.
Yeah.
But he was like, at this point, we were never.
Well, you're not
going-
going to, you're not
And he
going
goes,
to.
and he goes, and guess what? We would never. He was never going to get charged anyway.
Anyway, yeah.
So at least the family gets closure.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you have like a place where there's like somewhere where you can dump a body, like bury it, they're like, you just can't. And it was like not, it just wasn't a big scheme.
Right.
I don't even know. It's just like, there wasn't this crazy, like, oh, dissolve it in
Yeah,
acid.
so like
and
this whole shit is just
Yeah,
a bunch of shit.
but it's just like, why dissolve it in acid? Then you have a bathtub full of.
Yeah, I was going to say, like,
acid,
what do they
But
always
I guess
like?
you could drain it down, but then all your pipes just.
Yeah, because like when the plumber comes in, it'll be like, "Hey, did you notice a lot of the pipes are missing?"
are gone.
Like, it's gonna sound crazy, but what drain cleaner were you using?
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm sure there's some method that, some
Tell
crazy.
me off camera. Tell me.
No, I'm saying some
I'm kidding.
some criminal organization has
Yeah.
perfected it.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, I just feel like everything you do
It's just dumb.
It's not necessarily dumb. I feel like you're just every step
Right.
and thing you take in between is just more you could get caught on.
I don't know what compelled me
I mean,
to
the
ask
first
this
step
question.
is don't have a body.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask that question.
Just don't murder.
Because I was like, I wonder if he's ever thought about it.
Yeah. And that was how to get rid of the body with now read, everyone. That's going to be an interesting clip.
I've actually never really put any real thought into it.
I thought you were about to say like,
really killed anyone.
I've never really just had a body that needs to
Disclaimer,
get rid of.
disclaimer.
I just imagined if you were watching a movie and you saw it and you're like, oh, this is such a better way to do it. You got to,
I think what's kind of weird is like, I don't know, I've literally never thought about it.
Yeah.
correct.
Like
answer.
I think like
You've passed. You're allowed back in the country.
I think like the surface level I have kind of just like you see that crazy acid and you're like, well, that'd be crazy. Like if maybe that like if you vaporize a person with that, like maybe there would be no evidence left behind.
Yeah.
But I'd never really like there's no thought after like a fleeting 4 seconds.
Yeah.